because meditation has changed my life. It has completely helped me rewire my mind. It supports mental health issues, anxiety, depression, eating disorders. Like, it helps so much with really rewiring your mind. Welcome to the Multiple Truths podcast. We're your hosts, Holly
and Brittany. This is a space where we can come together healing in community, where we share our self-love journeys, insights, and wisdom.
A space with no hierarchy or judgment, fostering love, compassion, and respect, and where we honor our differences. With open minds and hearts, everyone's truth is welcome here. We are in this together. Let's dive into the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today we have the episode with Brittany and I. We are together and we're going to be doing an episode reading your emails. So we chose 2 emails. We haven't really read them thoroughly. We just did a brief overview. Yeah, we're going to read those, give our feedback, give our perspective, our thoughts. Again, take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. This is just our perspective, but we love getting a chance to interact with you all. So we're excited to do this. If you have any questions you would want us to answer, we take questions at the Multiple Truths Podcast 3 at gmail.com. So if you want to write in, feel free to write in. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, get cozy. I have a little cocoa powder, coffee here.
I got my kombucha.
Yeah, so get nice and cozy and we'll get into it. I'm going to read the first one. It's a bit long. I'm going to keep it anonymous too. I've just turned 20 years old and I found myself feeling a little lost and uncertain of what's ahead of me. Love is my center and the most important thing to me. As I've grown up, I've become increasingly more in touch with my spirituality and God. This awakening has helped me immensely with my healing and acceptance of my flaws, falling back in love with myself after 4 years of traumatic experiences with love. I am so excited you're creating a podcast, as your page is where I go when I am in need. To rephrase that, your page comes to me in every time of need, and I could not be more grateful to have access to your beautiful energies and influence. On your podcast, I would like you to talk through meditation. What really is it and how do I start? I hear a lot about meditating, but I'm not sure where to begin or if I'm doing it right. Do I sit in silence and think? Does it happen before I fall asleep? I need a little bit of guidance. I'd also like to ask for some advice on love. I do struggle with abandonment issues and an anxious attachment style. I know I was attracting the wrong people for me because of the energy I was in, but I do feel I still struggle to see my real value as much as I do know it and what I should deserve deep down. I have started therapy recently, which will hopefully help, although I'm searching for advice on how to not be afraid. I know I am meant to leave it in God's hands, but I can't help but wonder if I will ever be able to create a happy family. How do I know if that person will ever come along and just want me and accept me for all my flaws as I do when I love someone, so that I can create that happy family? I guess the $1 million question is, will I find love? Will it find me? How long? When? Where? How? I know I am impatient. I just feel like I am so hurt I may never even let it in, but it is all I want. So we'll hop into the first of meditation. I feel first.
There's one thing that I wanted to say though, that she mentioned at the very beginning about being 20 and feeling a little lost.
Yeah. Oh my
Honey, you're supposed to be lost.
You're so young. Yes.
You're this is such a fun time. I really want to say 20. This is your era of self-discovery. And that's gonna tie into the love when we talk about that later too.
Absolutely.
It's so much easier said than done, but it's not worrying about that right now. It's discovering who you are.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't know who I was until I was 30. My 20s were the times where I was 21, legal to be able to drink, go out, experience life, find out who you are, but it sounds like you have a good grasp. I'm sure you're an old soul, you're already on this journey, but there's so much more coming in for you, Yeah.
So I really wanted to say that you're right where you need to be, especially what Holly just said, the fact that you're attracted to this sort of content, self-development and whatnot. You're good. You're really good.
Yeah.
But let's dive into the meditation first, and then we'll kind of dive into the love portion. That's a really, really great question. That's a really great question. It's something that I should probably talk about more, explain more. When I talk about meditation, I jump to the assumption that people just know, what it means. And there's actually so many different types of meditation. It really kind of depends what your goals are. Right. I know for me, with mediumship and psychism, it is really important to meditate and sit in the power, is what my mentors call it. And it's clearing your mind so that you're not thinking of anything and you are just sitting still. And we're human, and naturally you're going to have thoughts that come in to your mind, and it's acknowledging those thoughts and letting them go. Acknowledge those thoughts and letting them go. It's not thinking about anything in particular. It's sitting in the power and just being very observant, very aware. And the more you sit in the power, you're going to become more, you might feel spirit, for example. You might feel them touch you. You might, basically sitting in the power will help develop your intuition. It'll help develop your psychism. It'll help develop your senses. Your, there's clairsentient, claircognizant, all of those. It'll help develop those parts for you. And spirit will help develop those parts for you as you're sitting in the power. So that sort of meditation I like to do specifically for my work.
Yeah.
And it is sitting for a longer period of time, like at least 20 minutes.
Yeah. And something too with like going along with sitting in the power too, it's like sitting in awareness. I know some people resonate with like being in conscious awareness, like, and it's an awareness practice, of just sitting with your thoughts, being aware. It's never going to be, your mind's never going to be fully quiet, but it's like being in this conscious awareness of when those thoughts come in, acknowledging them, becoming aware of them, letting them go. It's like that awareness practice.
Yes. And then that way too, it'll help you get better at deciphering what your thoughts are and what your thoughts are, like what are not your thoughts.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And really just getting comfortable with your energy. When you're sitting in your energy, you're sitting with yourself, and it's also learning what my energy is versus maybe somebody else coming into the room and feeling their energy. Because as sensitive people, we sometimes, I know I did for a long time, I would take on other people's emotions and I would mistaken it for my own. But the more I sit in the power and develop that sense, or develop, through development there, the better I get to know my energy, the more aware I am, the more aware of my thoughts, X, Y, and Z. So that's like one sort of meditation.
Can I say too, real fast? Please. What Brittany said too, it's like getting so conscious of how you're speaking to yourself. That was like what thoughts are yours. Like when I first started meditating, I was told to meditate because I was in this really low place, such low self-esteem. And this man who I went to told me, I want you to start meditating so you can get really clear on your thoughts, how you're speaking to yourself, because so many of us speak so negatively to ourselves and we don't even realize it because it's so unconscious and so habitual. So sitting even in that power, that awareness, whoa, I had no idea how negative I was talking to myself. Like you can be speaking so you get so conscious of your thoughts, and you need consciousness first before you can start to make shifts, to start really change your inner dialogue to be more supportive for you. So that's a huge piece of too, like if you're just sitting in that power, sitting in that awareness, being like learning your voice, the voice of your soul, the voice of your ego, learning these two different voices within you, what's yours, what's not yours, the old programming, the limiting beliefs, all of that. Yeah.
No, thank you. I love that.
Yeah.
And I want to preface that sort of meditation anyone would benefit from. However, if you're doing this sort of work, that meditation is really beneficial for that. But when it comes to day-to-day meditation, if your goal is simply to clear your mind, I mean, again, there's so many different sorts of meditation. You could wake up, I like to say sit in silence, because eventually the goal is to be able to sit in silence and not have anything come into your mind. When you're able to get to that place, which is not easy, don't get me wrong, and it will be, it could take years until you get there. Even maybe it's like 5 minutes and there was no thoughts. That's a long time to sit 5 minutes with absolutely no thoughts. Like that's a really long time.
Yeah.
If you just want to start your day better, start with like 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before you go to bed, 10 minutes before you go to bed. I really like to listen to frequency music, and I try to clear my mind, because the idea is to start a fresh slate, to clear those negative voices, to let go of any stress, any worries, and just start clear, start fresh. I could like go on and on. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah. So in the morning, I like to do guided meditation. Sometimes it like ebbs and flows each morning. Like sometimes I do frequencies, sit with that, and I just like say a mantra in my mind. Like I'll just do a mantra. One that I love is I have everything I need within me. I have everything I need within me. So sometimes I just listen to frequency music and say that mantra. So, and when thoughts come in, I go back to the mantra. When thoughts come in, I allow my mind to go there. I notice it. I come back to the mantra. So that's a nice one to do, like just having a mantra.
And can I say something really quick? I feel like guided meditation is such a great way to start. If you're not comfortable meditating, if you're like, I can't just sit and not think of anything, start with guided meditations.
Yes, absolutely.
Because with guided meditations too, it can take you into meeting a different, you know, a younger version of yourself, and you can get into healing and that sort of a thing as well. But yeah, guided meditations is a really great way to start.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I love Boho Beautiful. She has a YouTube channel. She has so many beautiful, powerful meditations, guided meditations, ones from 5 minutes to 25 minutes. Like I started out just 5 minutes every morning, and then I built my way up. Now I do about 20 minutes every morning. It's a part of my morning routine. And guided meditations, I started with that. I still do it. I love them. It's kind of like mindless. You're just listening to, you're keeping your awareness on what she is saying or what the person is saying. And then typically they give you a mantra in the time that like this open space time to like repeat a mantra. And that's just a good way to like, you know, I have everything I need within me, you know, it's just like repeating these positive affirmations, getting like reprogramming your subconscious mind, your conscious mind. So guided meditation is like such a beautiful way. Yeah. I love guided meditation.
Another form of, you know, meditation that I really love to do, because with meditation, I believe, depending on what the goal is, like sometimes it could be, you know, like I said before, to meet a younger part of yourself, to tap into some healing or whatever it may be. But I think a really key thing in meditation is to clear your mind. And you can sit in silence, but something I really love to do is I will go by myself for walks in nature, and I won't even listen to music. If I do listen to music, it will be frequency music. So I'm really just immersed in the present moment. And sometimes though, I do let myself, like things will come into my mind. When I go for walks, sometimes there's no thoughts. I'm just really present. Other times things come in, and it gives me the opportunity to work through what I need to work through in those moments. And as a result of that, sometimes breakthroughs happen. I realize certain things about myself that I didn't know before. I think that's another form of meditation as well, or any sort of like, even like exercise for some people can be very meditating to clear your mind. Anything you can do that can clear your mind. Painting, like that's another one that's kind of coming to mind right now, you know, that gets you in that state of like clearing your mind.
Because I think so often when we think of meditation, it's like sitting cross-legged on the floor, hands out, like just straight back, you know, can be really rigid. But even what comes to mind too is like meditation. It's any time that you're just bringing awareness. So cooking, chopping vegetables, washing dishes. If you're a parent, a busy parent, like, you know, turn some music on or turn the music off and allow yourself to be fully present with chopping your vegetables, making dinner, you know, just that conscious awareness of being in the present moment, conscious of your thoughts, with yourself, with your mind, creating that awareness. Because it doesn't have to be just sitting cross-legged on the floor. That can be really even like off-putting to do something like that. So I always tell people, because meditation has changed my life. It has completely helped me rewire my mind. It supports mental health issues, anxiety, depression, eating disorders. Like it helps so much with really rewiring your mind and getting conscious of your thoughts, like I said. So I always tell when someone asks me about meditation, like I'm like, lay down, you know, get a blanket, get comfy, lay down on your bed if you need to, like whatever it is that's going to get you to start. That's all you need. You don't need to be sitting cross-legged on the floor with like your hands up. It's like, get comfortable, get cozy, figure out a way that works best for you so you can just really sit with your mind. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just really having the intention to connect with yourself, connect with your mind.
Exactly. And I think, again, clearing your mind. So however that works best for you. I love to move, which is why I love going for walks. That's one of the best forms of meditation for me, is I go for a walk. I go out in nature, like I said before, and I'm very present. Yeah. Like, and again, start small. Start with 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. It's like working out, right? When you go to the gym, you're not going to go in hardcore first time around. You're not going to keep it up that way. Start with 5 minutes. Be realistic. Do that consistently. When that becomes more of a habit, tack on another 5 minutes. And I think the main goal, though, is to clear your mind, because our minds are way more distracted and busy than we realize. It's difficult for people to clear their minds.
Oh my gosh. Can I also too, I read this study where people were given the option. It was like either spend 15 minutes alone or give yourself an electric shock. And like more than 50%, I think it was like 70% of people decided to go with the electric shock because they were so afraid to sit with their own thoughts. They would rather put themselves in pain. That's how much people are running away from sitting in stillness, from sitting with their own thoughts.
I literally have chills as you're saying that. That shocks me. No pun intended.
Yeah.
As I said that, I was like, oh, interesting. But
I'll have to like get the stats of the study, but I know it was staggering. I talk about this sometimes too. It's like it was like 70% of men and like 60% of women.
That's crazy to me. Like I love my time alone. I love being alone. I love being in silence, but it took a long time for me to get there. There's so many distractions.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's so many distractions. We're on our phone. There's music, instant gratification.
Well, and so many of us have done things we're not proud of, that we're constantly running away from, confronting ourselves, our own thoughts, what we've done, you know, like sitting in that shame or whatever it may be. And with all the distractions too. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a double. Yeah. It's the distractions make it worse, and it makes us, because we feel so uncomfortable sitting alone, and often we don't even know why. Right. It's because of those things, that maybe the healing or what we've done or this or that. It's uncomfortable, and that does need to change. So again, it's just starting slow, but I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. But you're on to it. If you're already doing it, so proud of you. Keep it up. You can't mess this up. Even if you do fall asleep, your body probably needed sleep in that moment. So trust whatever happens. But like, as long as you're trying and showing up, that's all that matters. And like, guided meditations are such a good way to start. Boho Beautiful. Again, we are putting out meditations on this podcast, on the community that you'll hear more about later too. So there's so many different forms of meditation. So hopefully that answered your question. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess now part 2 of the question, which is about love. And I get it, you know, like you're 20. I remember, you know, for the longest time too, I just wanted love. And, you know, it's exciting when you get into a relationship and X, Y, and Z, but truly what's most important right now, and this is probably going to be annoying to hear, it's not worrying about that right now, not worrying about, oh my gosh, am I going to have a family? It's not worrying about those things that are outside of you. The best way to prepare to ensure that does happen for you is focusing on you and learning how to genuinely love yourself, because that's not something that we've been taught in society. We've been taught to seek love outside of ourselves. So it's not your fault that you don't know how. I didn't know how for a really long time. Yeah. So it's turning that inward, and I'm sure we could do a whole episode on that alone. We are, you know, we talked about the community. We're going to have videos on self-love and whatnot in the community. I have a whole video on self-love on my YouTube channel. I know you talk about it a lot on your Instagram. But it's easy to worry about these things, like to try to control the future, you know, like we have been taught to think our way through life when we should be feeling our way through life. And, you know, like going to school, oh, what are you doing for your future? You need to prepare for your future. You need to prepare now. You need to have it sorted out. And that trickles into all areas of our life. Oh, I want a family. How can I make that happen? How can I do that? It's really letting that go and trusting that God, source, the universe, whatever it is that you call it, has a plan, and they have a plan for you. And if your soul is desiring that, more than likely that's going to be on your path. But it's letting go of how that comes in, and the more you focus on you, guaranteed it's going to take you there.
Yeah. And 2, I know that you mentioned like you have an anxious attachment, and 2, it's like building that secure attachment within yourself, learning how to fully love yourself, and then that love that you will inevitably attract in that love. And you, since you have a secure relationship with yourself, you'll be able, that will translate in your relationship as well. So I had an anxious attachment. I grew up very anxious as well. And it's like, the more that I healed my inner child and created that safety, that security within myself, that showed up in all of my relationships. I was able to communicate my needs, my wants, my desires, like if things were making me uncomfortable, whatever it needed to be to create that secure attachment. So yes, the more you can focus on yourself at this time, again, you're 20. So if a guy comes in, you know, like this is such an explorative time for you, like explore, figure out what you like, test things out. Like you have so much time.
Yeah. And something I want to add, because me as well, anxious attachment, and I think you mentioned something about wanting someone to love you unconditionally the way like you show that love in your partnership. So it's mirroring my past experiences in the past. You know, I was always someone that did so much for my partners. Oh, let me do more for you. I'm loving you so much. I'm loving you unconditionally. And as a result of that, I attracted in people who did not see my worth. And it's because I didn't even see my own worth. I didn't have a secure attachment. I was seeking that outside of myself. So the universe brought in relationships to teach me a lesson, you know? So it's also not saying this is going to happen to you, but if someone, you know, comes into your life, let go of any idea of where it might go, because these men would come into my life and I would attach and I would say, oh, this is it. This is the family. We're going to get married. We're going to do this. So when the breakup eventually happened, it was 10 times harder because I had this whole idea of where, you know, it was going to go. And I needed that to learn, you know, like I needed those experiences to learn. But if I had focused on myself instead of like seeking it outside of myself, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think too, at such a young age too, it's so easy to like want all of that, you know, like when we're young, we want the boyfriend, we want the friends, we want these things, like that external world. 'Cause that's like what we're seeing on social media with everything. But it's just knowing that like you creating this safety and that comfort within yourself too, like you, even if someone can't love you the way that you know you deserve to be loved, you'll have the strength and courage to walk away and not like self-sacrifice like you did in your relationship, like I did in my past, stayed in relationships that were not worthy of us, that we stayed in for far too long. You know, it's like you will know your worth, and if someone's not treating you the way that you know you're meant to be treated, you have the strength and courage to walk away because you know who you are. You can stand on your own 2 feet. You have that self-love from within. Self-love is the deepest, most profound form of love that you can ever have in this lifetime. And that will translate throughout your life. So even a way, I talk about this all the time, but the way that I really started my journey of learning how to love myself was looking at myself in the mirror every morning and saying, I love you, or I am learning to love you, to really like connect and rewire with seeing myself and not speaking negatively, but actually like, I love you. And meditating, like we talked about, getting clear on your unconscious thoughts, getting really clear of your voice that is coming from within and starting to shift that. And also journaling to just get so like clear of your relationship with yourself. So if you're looking for, you know, continue to just focus on yourself right now, and you'll attract in what you're meant to attract in.
Yeah. And you should listen, if you have not already, you should listen to our first episode of season 2, because we kind of talk about love a little bit. Yeah. And we also talk about, I think I mentioned this, like I thought I was loving these people, you know, more than, you know, more than maybe they were loving me, but everything really is a mirror. And what I was seeking love, and it was and I was convincing myself, though, what I was doing was loving them more, but really it was ego, and I was seeking love for myself, if that makes sense. Yeah. And it's knowing that the more you love yourself, the deeper you love yourself, the deeper somebody will love you, the deeper of love you will attract in. We talk about it on that.
Definitely go listen to the first episode. Yeah, because we dive very deep into that. I feel.
Yeah. So we don't need to get into it again.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good. Yeah, thank you for writing in.
Hey guys, we are super excited to announce the launch of something new. We will be launching something called a community on a platform called School. That's SKOOL. It's similar to a Patreon, but better. It's a platform for learning and, well, community. Basically, it will give you access to exclusive content from both Holly and I. Holly is a certified holistic health coach, and she is also a certified embodiment coach. I have a degree in kinesiology and received a certification in personal training. I also am an advancing student in mediumship development and have been channeling spirit for as long as I can remember. Through our own experience and journeys, as well as our knowledge gained through education, we will be curating content to specifically aid in your journeys back home to self. This will include monthly guided meditations, guided embodiment practices, pick-a-card readings, energy healing, guided workouts, and healthy recipes. It will also include important teachings to help you become the most embodied version of yourself. Some topics will include how to connect with your intuition, how to tap into the psychic within you, how to heal your inner child, how to face and understand your ego, how to heal your relationship with your body and food, and more. This platform will also allow for conversation and connection with others who are also part of the community, giving you the opportunity to potentially meet other like-minded individuals who are also on the path of becoming the best versions of themselves. This path is not easy and at times can be isolating. We are not supposed to do this alone. Community is so healing and so important, so we hope this will provide support for you regardless of where you might be on your journey. It's only $22.22 a month, where you will have unlimited access to all of the content as well as the new content rolled out monthly. It will also give you a $10 discount on our monthly healing circles. Holly and I both struggled with self-image, self-confidence, knowing our self-worth, and knowing what it means to truly love ourselves majority of our lives. The truth is that we are not taught how to properly love ourselves in this day and age, and we are on a mission to make change. We owe it to the future generations to come. We believe that it is important to love your mind, body, and spirit cohesively in order to truly step into the highest, most authentic version of yourself. We hope to see you there, honey.
Let us know if that helped. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to email us as well.
Yes. Okay, so I have another email here. I am going in totally blind. Holly picked this one out, so I'm excited to dive in.
Read it either. So
okay, we're going in blind, so I hope I pronounce everything okay. All right. I was privileged with a wonderful family/childhood and never suffered from anxiety. I've always been considered sensitive by close family and was a quote-unquote crybaby as a child, but was always deep down a happy person. But over the past 3 years, and especially the last year, I have stopped taking hormonal birth control and have developed monthly depression and anxiety attacks. I have essentially self-diagnosed myself with PMDD. I just want to make sure we know what this is. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder. PMDD is a very severe form of premenstrual syndrome, PMS. It causes a range of emotional and physical symptoms every month during the week or two before your period. It is sometimes referred to as severe PMS. PMDD occurs during the luteal phase of your menstrual cycle. For those of you who might not know what that is, so I have essentially self-diagnosed myself with PMDD and have not found a doctor so far that has been knowledgeable or helpful in this area. The main thing I have noticed is that my menstrual cycles and the PMDD symptoms usually align with the moon cycles. I'm also a Cancer moon, so I'm learning that I am extra sensitive to the moon cycles. I go through a progression of uncontrollable crying/depressive episodes, high energy anxiety, and apathetic lethargy days, all within 1 week leading up to my period. I can't find anything online about any correlation to spiritual awakening and onset PMDD symptoms. But I think as I am learning more about myself as an emotional empath of sorts and waking up to this greater network of energy around us, my body is also experiencing symptoms. Have any of y'all experienced or know anyone who has gone through something similar? I am not convinced my depressive and anxious episodes are my own. I feel them, but do not have conscious, sad, or anxious thoughts attached to them. I feel like I am absorbing other people's emotions and energy, and I then process/release them cyclically. I look forward to following your podcast and hopefully others have experienced this and have some tips on how to work through this change.
Interesting. Well, a couple of things are coming to mind. First is, I like being very sensitive. I was very sensitive as well. We both are very sensitive, and it's really learning how to protect your energy. Really learning how to protect your energy has been huge for me, and really understanding what is your emotions and what is someone else's emotions, and being able to learn the difference, calling on protection, and also stating to the universe, source, whatever you believe in, like, I only want to feel my energy. And create a boundary, because just as much as we need to have boundaries in this physical world, you also need to have energetic boundaries, and you can make that a clear boundary of I only want to feel my energy, and just learning how to protect yourself. There's so many different ways to protect yourself, saging, calling on a protective prayer, whatever it may be. There's a lot of things I feel like out there that you can do to like really learn how to protect your energy. And then also going past the energetic part of like feeling emotions, knowing too that you are very sensitive. And I didn't think that I had a very beautiful childhood too. I had a family that loved me. I had beautiful, like I looked back at my childhood and I was like, oh, I don't feel like I had any traumatic things happen to me, but I was also very sensitive to energy growing up, which led me to feel anxious majority of my life. And I had a lot of like younger wounds of this fear of being seen, being heard. So it's even knowing that even if you did have this perfect, like beautiful childhood, there can still be these younger parts of you that need your love, that need your attention, that need you to allow them to feel safe. And definitely with your energy being heightened during your cycle, that's natural, that happens for most of us. But knowing too that there may be something deeper here for you to investigate and to just really like create that love and that safety within yourself. This could be a really beautiful opportunity for deeper healing for you, for your inner child, for your inner teenager, because we all have painful experiences that happen to us growing up that impact us more than we realize. We're interrupting this episode to share something close to our hearts, our virtual healing circles. We have been loving them so much and meeting so many of you incredible people through them. Brittany and I are passionate about bringing people together to support one another and heal in community. We felt alone on our paths for so long, and coming together in community has been instrumental to our growth, and we've both seen the importance in it. We aren't meant to do this alone. In unity and vulnerability, we find strength, courage, and support each other on our paths back to ourselves. Our monthly virtual seminars blend discussions, workshops, and practices to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Whether seeking guidance, healing, or a listening ear, our gatherings offer a safe, inclusive space for people to connect, heal, and grow. Join us on this journey of healing in community. Together we can heal, grow, and thrive. Register for the next circle using the link in the show notes. We hope to see you there.
Yeah, there's a few things that I want to say. I'm just going to list out a couple of words here so you can remind me if I forget.
Yeah.
Birth control, inner child, doctor. Okay.
So birth control, inner child, doctor.
So first I want to just say, like, I'm really sorry that you haven't found a doctor that really kind of understands or is knowledgeable enough for that, because I've never experienced anything like that. But I do have friends who really, man, like I have one friend in particular, my old roommate. She has been through it when it comes to the medical system and doctors not listening to your symptoms, not listening. And it's like, trust your intuition. If there's something deeper going on, fight for yourself. So that's like something I want to say first and foremost, because I've never experienced PMDD or anything like that. So I can't speak from personal experience with that in particular. But I really want to validate that for you, because that's really discouraging. So if anyone is listening in the comments too, and you have any recommendations, please like drop them in the comments below. Maybe you can connect to someone who has been through this. I feel like that would be really, really amazing. Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to say first and foremost. Number two, going off of what you were saying with the inner child, I had great parents too. Like genuinely, I'm so lucky that my parents loved their kids more than anything in the world. with that said, because they genuinely loved us, for the longest time, I was just like, I don't have any issues from childhood. I don't have any trauma. I don't have anything. And only when I really started my healing journey did I realize, oh shit, my parents did the best they could with the tools they had. And you know what? I have some trauma from childhood.
Especially being so sensitive.
Yes.
And like, as you, the writer is very sensitive as well. It's like realizing our parents didn't really have the tools to help cultivate that sensitivity because they didn't know, you know, and especially if you were told that you cried a lot, you know, that can be like internal. If people made fun of you or pointed that out a lot, it's like internalizing that, you know.
No, same. Like I was the same thing as a kid, like, oh, you're so sensitive, you're a crybaby, go to your room. Same, like literally the same thing. And on my most recent ayahuasca ceremony, I came to the realization because of Mother Aya that, so backstory, I always needed to pee. I've had a bladder issue, quote unquote bladder issue, for as long as I remember. It's like a running joke in the family. I literally will dehydrate myself before going on the plane, before going on long car rides. I remember like before university exams, I would not drink anything for 3 hours before the exam, because even when I don't drink anything, I still have to pee. When I go to movie theaters, always sitting in the aisle seat, airplane, always making sure I get an aisle seat. It's just something that consumed my mind because it was a problem. I always needed to pee, and I just assumed that I had a small bladder because it's been an issue ever since I was a child. And in my most recent ceremony, what came through, you know, Mother Aya brought it to my attention, is that my physical body it was, how do I say this? My physical body developed a physical manifestation of trauma, I guess. I would physically make myself go pee so that I had an excuse to get out of environments I didn't feel safe in. And it's not like I was like, oh, I need to pee, and then I go to the bathroom and I don't pee. No. Like a full load of pee would come out, and I'm thinking, where the hell is this pee coming from? I just peed 20 minutes ago, but it's because I don't know if it was anxiety, because I also didn't think I had anxiety as a kid. I don't remember having anxiety as a kid, but being in environments that I felt unsafe, which started with my family. It started with my parents, who genuinely loved us more than anything. My body would make me go to the bathroom, so I had an excuse to leave that environment. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because, again, I thought, you know, I'm grateful for the parents that I had, and I don't remember having anxiety either, but clearly there was something deeper going on if my body made me do that so that I could, you know, leave the situation. So I just kind of wanted to bring that example in. Again, not saying that I'm not trying to say you had all this anxiety as a kid that you don't know about.
Yeah. There's always like deeper meaning behind everything though. And I think it can be really invalidating and dangerous for people to feel like, oh, I did have a good a good childhood. Like my parents loved me. I had all my needs provided. It's like, there's so many deeper things that can happen. Like we know of the big T traumas, you know, like getting raped, murdered, molested, whatever it may be. But there's so many little T traumas of not feeling safe in your environment, needing to leave the room to, you know, feel safe. It's like, that's a little T that had a huge impact that you didn't even realize until
because they say trauma is not necessary. Well, there's the big T traumas, you know, of course, but it's not always what happens to you. It's how your body responds to it.
Right.
And the last thing that I wanted to bring out has to do with the birth control. Again, I want to say I'm not a doctor. Keep fighting for what you need here.
Yes, absolutely. You are your biggest advocate. Yeah. So like Brittany said in the beginning, like really advocate for yourself, because you are the only person that's going to be your biggest advocate that only knows your body and what you're going through. So continue to fight for yourself, really. Yeah.
And so again, I just want to preface, I'm not a doctor when I say this. Birth control, I'm curious how long you've been on it for, because like other medicines and whatnot, something that's controlling your hormones, I feel like can act as like a suppressant of sorts. And now that you're not on that anymore, your body is trying to regulate again. And with healing, if you're also awakening as well, if you have all of these suppressed emotions, that need to come out, and you might not always know where they come from, because you made a comment on, it's like you have no conscious, like you're not sure where these come from. When I was on my healing journey, I remember waking up for a few months, I would be crying on and off every day for months, and sometimes I didn't have a memory of where this emotion was coming from, but I was like, okay, this was suppressed in my body. My body is ready, because my soul is at a place where I'm ready to release it. Even though it's uncomfortable, I'm going to let myself release this, because I'm ready to release this. If you're going off birth control, there's nothing controlling your body anymore. Your body might be like, this is it. I'm ready to release some of these suppressed emotions. So don't judge yourself. And I'm not telling you not to go to the doctors or anything like that, but don't judge what you're going through right now. Give yourself the permission to cry, to whatever it is that you need to do. And it's okay if you don't have any recollection of where it's coming from, or do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And knowing too that around when you are about to start your cycle, like you are going to be naturally more sensitive, naturally more emotional. Like I am on my cycle right now, and I cried so much 2 days ago, and I'm like, where is this coming from? But I didn't judge myself. I just allowed it to come, because you're just more sensitive, more open. Like just allow yourself to cry with no judgment, especially if you're sensitive. There's a lot of energy going on in the world, but also there's a lot that we still need to feel, because being sensitive growing up in our day and age, it's like it wasn't really safe to feel emotions. So there's so many suppressed emotions in our body that we may not even realize. So like, this is a part of your healing too, is like allowing yourself to just cry and not be judgmental of yourself. Just get curious from where it may be coming from, but not from a place of judgment. Just like, okay, I know that I need to cry. I know I need to feel this right now. So I'm just going to do this with no judgment. My body's learning how to regulate itself again, just like Brittany was talking about. Like, give yourself grace in this period as you just got off your birth control. Like, give yourself grace and trust that your body is working for you. Your body's always working for you. Trust that these big releases are happening for you and helping maybe regulate your body back.
Even when it's uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we're used to, again, instant gratification. Oh, you're hurt. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. Let's give you medication. Let's slap this so that you're not uncomfortable anymore. But growth happens outside of our comfort zone, you know?
Yeah. And I want to say, take this for what you will. Just a recommendation. I would definitely look into a naturopath or a holistic health nutritionist, or some sort of holistic healing when it comes to this, like as an option. Just look at your options: naturopaths, Chinese medicine, herbs, holistic healing. Like, I have chills as I say that. So I feel like there's something we're really looking more in the holistic route. You were on the pill for a while, so your body, like learning how to like create that safety within your body naturally could be really powerful for you as well. So if anyone again knows any good naturopaths or has gone through this and a natural remedy has supported you, please leave it in the comments or wherever. Yeah,
I feel like that was everything that I had to say to that. One thing I want to add, as I was talking about releasing your emotions and stuff too, and your spiritual awakening, like, I don't know, I was getting a lot of chills surrounding that area too. And I know when we go through a spiritual awakening, you know, healing, there's a lot of emotions that are released too. So it could be like a double whammy with you. Like, your soul is ready for some sort of change. Your soul is ready for change, and change is not comfortable. Change is not easy, and it will kind of push you. So like Holly said, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. You don't need to have all of the answers right now. Keep fighting for yourself. Keep advocating for yourself.
Keep showing up for yourself to take care of yourself during this time. Like, prioritize yourself, what you need to do for you to stay in a good place. Like, don't be giving so much of your energy away to other people, especially if you're sensitive right now and you're going through a lot. Like, protect your energy. Like I said, spend some time alone, you know, like really take care of yourself during this time too.
And I'm sending you so much love. You know, I'm sorry you're going through that.
I'm so sorry too.
I can only imagine that's not easy. But naturopath, definitely.
I think that's good.
Thanks so much for writing in.
Thank you.
Yeah, both of you, both listeners, for writing in. Like Holly said, send us your emails. We'll have our email in the description below, and all of the links for our community, for our healing circles, for our Instagram, our TikTok, everything will be down below. Thank you so much for being here. I know I love you.
I love you too. Yeah.
Until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. As we wrap up today's episode, we want to extend our deepest gratitude for joining us on this journey. Your support does not go unnoticed. If you enjoyed this episode and find value in our conversations, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also allows us to reach more people who can benefit from our community of healing and support. Every review, every rating makes a difference. Thank you for being a part of the Multiple Truths podcast family. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Multiple Truths podcast. Keep speaking your truth and spreading your light. We love you, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.